Hey, welcome back, knife nerds and everyday care people. It's the Big Canucker here. The 1,000+ subscriber Big Canucker, thanks to you guys. I'm still a little bit, nipply over this whole thing that, 1,000 subscribers. Gotta say thank you guys again. Thank you so much. Still trying to work out with YouTube how to get this whole subscriber thing, this giveaway for this Extrema Ratio knife here. So don't forget to subscribe because there's still some time left. When we hit 1,000 subscribers, we were going to give away this knife. Now I've tried to just download the list and it's hard, and we're still working on it. Technical difficulties, and then we'll give it a go. But this is up for grabs, so if you're looking at this, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to give me the big thumbs up. Yeah. Sorry about being a little bit sloppy here lately with the content. A little bit late, sorry. I ended up having frickin' water issues. Got out of bed the other day and could hear something and wondered what the hell it was. It was like a slow leak. And then the next thing you know, I look over at my wall and all the frickin' paint is sagging on the wall. And there's some dark spots, and we have a leak in one of the pipes that I had to cut through the ceiling and try to repair. And I will probably put a picture in here somewhere, just quick picture to show you that whatever, it was just a pain in the butt. So what we want to do here today is we want to go over a Knick little knife that I had bought a little while ago, and we gave you guys the choice of what one to review first. There was the Ontario Rat 1 and the Benchmade Griptillian Mini-Grip was the other one. So now it's time to have a look at this Benchmade Mini-Griptillian. I gotta say, this is it's a Knick little knife. I gotta say, we can have a look at the hits, we can have a look at the misses, and everything in between. I like that little saying, but I keep forgetting to say it all the time. So I gotta have myself a signature catchphrase. If you can think of one, leave it in the comments. What my signature catchphrase would be instead of "I'm going to kill myself." Don't put that one in there because I'm not going to say that all the time. All right. This was another little thing here. This was the Leatherman Free P4. And the reason I'm going to give this here a little bit of a nod is this Mini-Griptillian is a smaller knife, and I've used this as kind of a fifth pocket knife, and it fits in there really quite nicely, actually. And I've been carrying this as kind of my everyday carry combo, but I'm not going to combo it. I'm going to do this one, and then down the road we'll do this one relatively soon, because I did use this one to help with my plumbing issues. So, all right, let's go down and have a look at the tabletop, and we'll go over this wonderful, wonderful little blade. All right, here we go. We have got our Benchmade Mini-Griptillian, and just to give you an idea of kind of the size, here is a Spyderco Delica stainless steel, so you can see that it's kind of right in that kind of ballpark with the Delica. And then of course you've got a CRKT Pilar 2, I do believe this is, or Pilar. I think this one here is the Pilar. This is just a straight the Pilar. The Pilar, the Pilar, the blue. So that's what that is. And as you can see, it's kind of right in the middle of these two here too as well. Now this one here is kind of an EDC Hall of Fame knife. I would dare say that the Griptillian is an EDC Hall of Fame knife too as well. The Mini-Griptillian, as good as it is, if I had a choice, given my particular lifestyle, I think I would choose the Griptillian over the Mini-Griptillian. And that's just plain old based on size, because sometimes size does matter, folks. Now, speaking of size, let's go over this. Blade length is 2.91 inches, so it's sub 3 inches. So that's a really good thing too, as well. Like, don't get me wrong. This isn't a knife that because it's 2.91 inches that is not going to be EDC capable whatsoever. I think especially if you live in areas where you have to be sub 3 inches in order to carry a pocket knife, otherwise it's illegal. This is a no-brainer. This is an excellent little blade. I just happen to like that extra half inch. That extra half inch is the difference between ooh and ah. I guess you want to say that. And so I would prefer the bigger regular Griptillian. And all right, but let's continue on with this. Let's go here. The designer is Mel Pardue, so absolutely Hall of Fame knife designer. And this thing here is designed is really fits really well in the hand. It's very, very comfortable. Now your blade thickness is 2.54 millimeters, so it's a little bit of a thinner knife. it is kind of a high, it's a flat ground saber ground knife here. It's not completely flat, but this is flat. It's not hollow ground in here whatsoever. So it gives you a little bit of, tip strength. You can see here where sometimes you've got knives that will taper down to quite the point where you've got no tip strength. This doesn't seem to be one. I mean, it is kind of a thinner tip, but it's not tapered down to where it's, you look at it and you think that it's fragile. I mean, sometimes you look at, say, the Paramilitary 2 and you flip it up, and even though it's got, I think a 3.5 mil thick blade up here, it seems like it narrows down to quite a tip point where you almost feel like it's a little bit fragile. I don't get that feeling at all from this mini grip whatsoever. Now your total open length is 6.78 inches, so you know what, it's still got some size there. Closed length is sub 4 inch, 3.87 or 9.83 centimeters. And your handle thickness is 0.51 mils or half a inch, 12.95 millimeters. But the nice thing that it, being kind of a smaller knife, it's a little bit thick. Now, half a mil seems to be a really, really good size right across the entire range of knives. I don't know how many knives we've reviewed on here where it's been 0.51 or 12 mil or, and it seems to be a really good size. So with this smaller knife, having that thicker, a little bit of a thicker profile, it does fill the palm quite a bit. Now there is a tiny bit of a hot spot with the way that this clip kind of curls out. I noticed that a couple of times. I've cut some cardboard with this and I've given it a real good squeeze, and it does kind of get into my hand here just a little bit. So one of the things I might do is, you can see here too that it's just wearing, the paint's wearing here a little bit. I might just give that a little tiny bit of a sandpaper on there now that it's been worn, and it might just kind of, because it is a little bit on the sharp side. Now, the steel on this particular knife here is CM 154 CM. I always get that mixed up with the CPM 154, but the CM 154 is a little bit of a, I'm not going to say that it's a lower grade knife, but if you, the steel that comes in this knife right now is an S30V, and it's just like, if you've got S30V here, CM 154 is just a little below as far as edge retention. A lot of people really do prefer the 154 because it does sharpen so nicely. It gets so razor sharp, and I think on the toughness scale, it's a little more tougher than the S30V. A lot of people, especially when the S30V first came out, I know there was some issues with people talking about the edge chipping, that it got a little bit too brittle if it got a little bit hard. And I've never heard anything about this 154 CM being anything but an incredibly tough knife. So, I would say CM 154 and S30V are kind of interchangeable depending upon what you want. I know there's some pretty big knife makers that this is their absolute favorite steel. And you know what? With the edge retention on this, there's nothing to worry about whatsoever at all. Like this is nothing like HCR 13 MOV or anything like that. And I did put a little bit of an edge on here just with the one of my sharpening systems here, and it got razor sharp in a hurry. The Work Sharp Precision is what I used on this one here, just because it was handy and I didn't want to break up the KME, and I just wanted to put a nice edge on here, and it did put a absolute hair shaving edge on there relatively quick. Now, your clip is actually have a standard clip. It's not deep carry, so there is a tiny bit sticking out. There is a lanyard hole, and it's just a little bit off-centered. Lots of times, your lanyard hole's in the back here. Here, it's still going to be very, very handy. And the one thing that I do like about this lanyard hole being in the back here is if your lanyard has got, really, really long, sometimes it can curl over, and when you go to close your knife, you're cutting into your lanyard a little bit, just the way it holds. When you've got that hole in the back here, it seems like your lanyard spends a lot less time under this blade and getting snagged or caught. It's still able to just pop out of your knife, your pocket with the lanyard hole too as well. And the reason I didn't put a lanyard on here is A, I didn't have time, and B, is because I was using this as a fifth pocket knife. And when I do a fifth pocket knife, I prefer not to have a lanyard on it. That's just my own personal preference at all. So now your clip position is left or right carry. It's not a four-way position carry. It's left or right, and there is a lot of aftermarket clips on here. It looks like it's a painted clip, and you can see that it seems to be you know, with all kind of painted, I would just prefer having a satin finish on this clip. That way, because that's one of the things that wears most on knives, unless they've got some sort of crazy, you know, carbon nitride coating on there. If they're any sort of painted clip, they're not going to look fantastic in a, you know, in a couple or 3 months. They're the first things that wear, you know, as far as I'm concerned. Now, as far as the handle is concerned on here, this handle here happens to be nylon, glass reinforced nylon. You can get this knife in a G10. You can also get it in a jade, and you can also get it in a carbon fiber. That's the one thing I have to say about Benchmade and this Mini-Griptillian is the fact that you can get this knife completely customized the absolute way that you want it. There is a whole pile of different blade shapes. You've got this drop point. You've also got a sheep's foot, and you've also got a tonto. You can go plain edge. You can go half serrated edge here. You can go with a thumb stud. You can go with a spyderco hole or spider hole for as far as the opening. You can change this to a blackout if you want. I mean, you can customize this to your own individual needs. And that's the one thing I really, really do like about Benchmade. Now, the other thing, too, as well, is you get all sorts of different colors and handles here, too, as well. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I do believe 7 different colors. Pink if you want, blue, tan, black, green. You name it, they've got it. Now, the other thing here, too, as well, is you can see here, if this little pattern here, the small checked or small diamond pattern, that denotes that it is the nylon. If you've got a little bigger diamond pattern, that's the G10. And of course, you know what the carbon fiber looks like. Now, one of the other things about this knife here, the reason people, I think, love this knife and these knives so much is this axis lock. And I have to say, this axis lock is absolutely wonderful. It is smooth and it is so nice. Now, there used to be an issue inside here. There's a little thing called an omega spring, and it looks like the Greek letter omega, and that's what seems to, you know, is your is the way that this thing springs forward and springs back, is with the omega spring. There was an issue in the past of these omega springs breaking. Now, I don't know what Benchmade did as far as quality control, but I have not had one break, and I've not heard one breaking in quite some time. They seem to maybe have fixed that particular issue. Now, so your axis lock is fantastic. Now, one of the only things that really bugs me about this knife is the way I open and close these knives is I use both hands and I push, and my one of my fingers here lots of times will get itself caught in this edge, you know, and it'll come down on there. And I have, you know, kind of nicked my finger here a few times. You can see here where I've got some white here, just from kind of playing around with this. Because if you believe me, if you get an axis lock and you're a fidget person, it's an absolute fidget person's dream. And you will sit there and you will flick this thing open all the time. Just like that. Now, do I like this knife? Abso-freaking-lutely. Would I carry this knife as kind of a gentleman's carry? I think so. I think it's classy enough. It's small enough to fit inside a... oh, excuse me, sure, I gotta take a drink. It's small and light enough, coming in at about 2.8 inches. The drop foot is 2.8 ounce. The sheep's foot is a little lighter at 2.68 ounce, and I imagine the carbon fiber is a little bit lighter there too as well. And then it's extremely light. It fits in there wonderfully. The jimping on here is not so deep that you're going to get really bad hot spots, or, you know, or develop some crazy blisters on that. It's extremely comfortable. Now, the one thing here too as well is that you need to know is that there's no steel liners in there for the majority of the knife. I don't think there is any steel liners in there. So, but, you know, you can see it's got a little bit of give, but this nylon G10, extremely strong. I wouldn't worry about this knife. doing anything other than a good day's work. Now, if you're going to be doing some real heavy duty stuff, I think you probably still want to get the bigger Griptillian, with the 20 CV steel in it, perhaps, but for everyday things, for opening, letters, for, cardboard, for stuff around the house, I don't think you can go wrong with this Mini Griptillian whatsoever. Benchmade, this is one of Benchmade's biggest sellers, and you can see why. This axis lock, this Mel Purdue design, it's absolutely tremendous. Now, I'm going to give this knife a 7.5 out of 10. I'm going to knock it down a little bit because I don't like, and this is just this particular model, maybe not the Mini Griptillian, maybe there's other ones that I would like a little bit more, is I think that this sort of serrations don't completely fit my lifestyle. I prefer the complete plain edge all the way through, because most of my things doing is cardboard cutting and stuff like that. If I'm doing any sort of rope or fibrous material, these serrations come in really, really handy. And it's not that these serrations won't cut cardboard, it's the fact that when you are cutting through cardboard, you are really, really doing a lot to the edge of the knife, and this serrations are hard to get as sharp as a plain edge. I can put a plain edge and I can get it going. I can get it rocking and rolling where it's absolutely hair whittling on a bench stone, and I can get these serrations, quite sharp too as well, even to the point where they're kind of shaving. But it's a lot harder with those little nooks and crannies, and it's a lot harder if you don't have the tools to do it. I know there are ways that you get like a little crock stick and do it, but it's an awfully harder to do with just a straight bench stone than it is just a plain edge. And for me, I like that plain edge a lot better. Now, this 154 CM, I do also got to say that I have cut some cardboard in here, and the other reason people like this 154 a lot is it'll strop up sharp too as well. Now, I did go through a whole pile of cardboard with this knife, and all I had to do was strop it back, and it was ready to go. I mean, probably about 10 strokes on either side, and I could feel a difference right away. Now, so that's my look here at this Benchmade Mini-Griptillian. Is it a buy? I think so. If you're a collector, you got to have yourself a Griptillian somewhere in your collection. You got to have yourself, especially an axis lock in your collection somewhere. And I definitely would put this in my pocket again. But look forward down the road. I seem to have got a lot of these little small knives, and we're going to probably have a small knife shootout coming up in the next little while. I think it's time to do that. So I've got a lot of these little small knives that are these kind of size, and I think it's time to maybe put these head to head. So look forward to that down the road. Look forward to our draw for our extremer ratio. Don't forget to subscribe and give me the thumbs up, and you get yourself into the draw for this wonderful, wonderful blade, courtesy of a gentleman by the name of Patrick Anderson. Thank you so much. Now, have yourself a wonderful day. Keep your stick on the ice, the shiny side up. This is the Big Canucker saying adios.